Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone had a good Monday. I saw a bunch of you yesterday on our Zoom meeting, so I hope I see some more of you today. Today, pretty normal day today. I'll be on Zoom for both morning and evening. Don't forget there's a password that you need now to get into the Zoom meeting. So if you can't get on for some reason, make sure you use the password. I put it in the email and the like, okay? Book report, don't forget to get me your book that you're going to be doing your next book report on. Please have that to me sometime today so that way I know what book you're choosing to do. And I can make sure that it's a good book that I know that will challenge you just a little bit. So make sure you get that to me. For spelling today, you're on page 2. I only got a couple assignments from yesterday, so if you haven't turned in your assignments yet, please do so. I'm missing a bunch, but make sure you also include your spelling. Write each word 2 times, and today you're on page 2, so you need to have that done as well. So please make sure you get those to me as well. All right. Today for social studies, we're going to be talking about wants and needs. Remember, wants are things that you really you want, but you don't necessarily need. Needs are things that you need to survive. What you need to do is come up for a list and write on a piece of paper 10 things that are wants in your life and 10 things that are needs. So 10 things that you really want and 10 things that you need in order to survive. And you're going to like kind of split your paper in two and write that like that, okay? All right, so that's your assignment for social studies today. All right, kindergartners, for your math today. Today you're going to have a picture with a bunch of dice. And then on the front side, you have to tell me what 2 dice can you roll that equal 9. So you got to color 2 dice, and when you count up all the dots, you get 9. And on the back, it's going to be the same thing, except now it's going to be 7. So you got to color the 2 dice that equal that number. So it shouldn't be too hard. And then on the back side, or for Super Kids today, we're going to be looking at M. We're going to finish up our look at M this morning or this afternoon during our Zoom meeting. Also starting to look at our letter P. So don't forget, go over those letters. We're going to do that quiz again today about our letters and what sounds they make. So be very, make sure you have reviewed that before you meet me on my Zoom today, okay? All right, math for first graders. Not too hard today. As you know, the top side of the fact sheet, just have to do that. You don't have to do the bottom or the back side. And then on the guided practice, we're going to be looking at fractions today. So if you look all the way down at number 3, you have a piece of celery there. And it says, how many parts did they cut that piece of celery into? So you count the parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you write the number 6 on the line. Then it says color 2 pieces. So you color 2 pieces, and it says blank out of blank pieces are colored. So how many pieces do we color? 2. And how many pieces total? 6. 2 out of 6 are colored. So that's what you write there for number 3. All right. Number 2 deals with calendar. We worked with that last week. So look at that calendar up there and figure out the problems or figure out the questions to each answer. Number 1, again, you're going to be writing the number 106 and circle the number that's in the tens place. Remember, tens is the middle number. Number 4, these are dealing with shapes. You got to color all the cones. Those look like ice cream cones. They could be up like how we hold our ice cream cone, or it can also be upside down. So be careful. There's more than one. Color the cones blue, and a sphere. Remember, a sphere is like a ball. Color all those red. And then number 5 at the bottom says color the graph to show how many cones and spheres you colored. So count up how many cones you colored and color the boxes going across, and then color how many spheres you colored. And it says how many more cones were there than the spheres, and write that number there. And then number 6, you got to, going back what we worked on last week, adding by 3s. On the back side, everything else is exactly the same, except you're still working with cones and spheres and whatnot except for number 1. Number 1 says circle the number that are between 42 and 55. There's I think there's going to be 1. I think there's 3 numbers that you have to circle there. So circle the numbers that are between 42 and 55 and find those 3 numbers and circle them. All right. For phonics, we're finishing up our look at the long E today on your 4 pages. So on the first page, you're just writing the sentence that matches the pictures. Very simple. 208, very simple. So underline all the long E words, the words that have the long E. And then on 209, answer the questions on the top and then write 3 sentences using those 3 boxes at the bottom. And then 210, fill in the bubble next to the word. Very, very, very easy assignment for phonics today as we finish up our look at the long E. All right? For your reading today, on the first page, 241, you're going to be writing the word that looks, oops, sorry, my hair is a mess. 241, figure out which word best finishes the sentence, circle it, and write it on the line. 242, you need to read the little story at the top, and then draw me a picture. Remember that? What do we call someone that draws the picture? They're called an illustrator. Yeah, an illustrator. So you have to draw and color. Make sure you color that picture. Okay? Then on the last page, you're going to take a piece of paper. Let me grab a piece of paper. Hold on. So you have to cut out the 3 boxes, and you're going to take a piece of paper and fold it in half like this. It's a long way to make like a little book. Then you're going to make a title page. So the name of the book is called A Better Idea. Then you're going to open up, and whatever goes first, glue the box down here and draw me a picture. Then glue a box down here and draw me a picture. And then on the back side, glue me a box and draw me a picture to make like a little book about the story A Better Idea. So you got to read the. So first page is the title, page 1, page 2, and on the back is page 3. And then what you're going to have to do there is make sure you color the pictures and all that good stuff. I think it should be pretty easy, not too hard, and just a lot of coloring, nice neat pictures, and don't forget to color, please. Okay. All right, Rodney, for your reading today, on page 66, you're looking at encyclopedias. To answer those questions, you got to look at the purple encyclopedias at the bottom and tell me which one would we look up. So like the first one says, how many people lived in Utah? Well, to find out how many people lived in Utah, you probably have to look up under Utah, the U. So you go to the U and you'd find what volume that is. That is, the U is in volume 20. So we write a 20 on the line. So you always got to find what important word in that description would we look up to find that answer. Okay, and then on 96, you got to use the dictionary here. It says look at the set of guide words and read the 3 choices of topics that follow. Draw a line through the 1 or more topics that would not appear. So you have to, it's kind of like which word in ABC order. So pigeons and plastic. So it's between the I and the L because the P's always already match. So you got to find what words go between the I and the L and cross that off. All right. Or that does not go between the I and the L. Sorry. And then at the very bottom, it says read the entry from the encyclopedia. And it says use the volume numbers on the previous page and write the volume number which you would find this. So you got to tell. So it says where it says C, air pollution for the first one, C, golden fleece and sheep. You got to look up why air pollution. That'd be under A. So you probably, what one is A? Golden fleece and sheep. You're gonna have 2 numbers for the bottom one. Okay. Then on the, oops, I almost forgot about the last 2 pages. On 68, you gotta tell me cause and effect. Remember cause and effect? Because something happened, this happened. So like because I was holding on to the ice cream cone too long, the effect, it melted. So you have to look at the cause, and then they give you the cause, and you gotta tell me what's gonna happen because of that. Write that for 1, 2, and 3, and then on 96, you gotta circle the word that goes in the sentence, and then use the word tough and enough in your own sentence. All of these words today are gonna have the UF sound, O-U-G-H, which makes the F sound, which is a little bit different. All right, second graders, you guys just have fact assessment today. You have 3 sheets today. One's dealing with subtraction, one's dealing with multiplication, and then the last one is just your written assessment. Pretty simple stuff here. I'm not even going to go over this because I think it's all stuff that you guys should be able to figure out. The only thing I would say that you might have to be careful of is on number 4. It says, where do you see parallel lines in the classroom? Put where do you see parallel lines in your house? In your house. Tell me where you see parallel lines. I think everything else, though, should be pretty normal. Not too hard and not too I think you should be able to figure out everything else. Like I said, this is kind of like an assessment of seeing where you're at with regards to the stuff we've been doing the last couple of weeks. For phonics today, second graders, we're finishing up our look at contractions. Actually, we have one more sheet tomorrow, but we're looking at today the contractions that have the VE or the S. So like I have makes I've, she has, she's, let us, let's. So same exact directions that we've been doing the last couple of days. So just follow those directions. You guys have been doing good there. Keep up the good work with regards to that, and yeah, keep moving forward with regards to those assignments. For your reading today, you're going to be reading second graders the story called Jalapeno Bagels. And you have to go to page 193 to 210, and you have to read that story about jalapeno bagels. And you're going to read a story about this family that owns a bakery, but it's not your normal bakery. It's a Jewish slash Mexican bakery. So you're going to hear about these different foods that they make, and they sound very delicious. In fact, they give you the recipes at the very end of the story. So if you're looking for a fun activity to do with your mom or dad, you can try to make some of these yummy desserts and treats that they make at their bakery. Well, you need to read that story, and then on page 217, you got to use the spelling words to finish each one of those clues. Finish each sentence. On to 118, you need to circle the 5 words that are spelled wrong and write them correctly on the line. Number 119 deals just like what we've been dealing with phonics. Match the contractions with the 2 words that they make, and then at the bottom, write the 2 words that make up each of one of those contractions. And then 120, you need to write the word that best finishes a sentence. Again, very simple assignment for you, but be very careful reading that story about jalapeno bagels. I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's a fun story to read. Make sure you read it with mom or dad, so that way you are understanding, especially since tomorrow your assignment's going to deal a lot with that story. So make sure you read it very carefully. Okay? All right, third graders. Third graders, today is a little bit of a trickier assignment. Today you are dealing with long division. One of the things that Mr. Holman does not enjoy because it's a little trickier, but nothing that I don't think any of you can understand. So look at this. 5 divided by 80. Well, you could count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, all the way up to 80, but that'd be kind of tricky. So what you're going to do today is this. How many times can we go 5 times what to give us something close to 8 without going over? Well, that would be just 1 time. So I put a 1 right above the 8 like that. And then what's 5 times 1? That's 5. So I put a 5 under the 8. Okay. And then I have to subtract it. So that's kind of different, right? So what's 5 minus 8? 3. Now we can't do 5 times something that goes to close to 3, so we have this 0, so we're going to bring this 0 straight down. So now 5 times what gives us 30? That would be 6. So I put a 6 up by next to the 1, just like I did there, and then I put 30 underneath, and I subtract, and our answer is 0. So our answer actually is 16 up here. All right, so let's try another one here. Three divided by 54. All right, so 3 divided by 54. How many times does 3 go into 5? 3 times what? Well, 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6, but 6 is too big because it's bigger than 5, so we can't use that, so we're going to use 1. So we do put a 1 above the 5, and then the 3 goes under it. Remember what we do? We have to subtract. Okay, then 3 minus 5, 5 minus 3 is 2. And then do you remember what we have to do after we do that? Bring down the 4. Good. Now 3 times what gives us 24? All right, 8. So we put an 8 up on the top, and then we put 24 underneath. We subtract. 24 minus 24 is 0. So our answer is right there, 18. We'll do one more, just so you can see how this is done. I'm going to go over this again also this morning in our Zoom class. 4 into 76. All right, so 4 times what? We're looking, how many times can 4 go into 7? Well, 4 times 2 is 8. Remember, that's too big. So again, it's going to be the number 1. We put the 4 under the 7, and then we subtract. So 4 times what? 7 minus 4 is what? 3. And then what do we have to bring down? The 6. And then 4 times what gives us 36? 4 times 9. Then we put the 36 below it, subtract it, and we get 0. Right, so our answer is 19. So on numbers 3 and 4 today, that's what your assignment's going to be looking at. You're going to be looking at those long division problems like that. So, and this is just the first step. So, like I said, I'm going to go over this again in our Zoom meeting this morning. But it is a very kind of trickier assignment because, but you have to get how we figure those out, because if you don't figure out how those work, we're going to get some bigger ones, and you're going to have to figure out the process. So make sure you do it the right way, and I'll be looking at your assignment to make sure you wrote out the problems the correct way, okay? Like I said, if you have questions, I'll be on Zoom this morning, and I'm going over it again, okay? Then for your reading today, on page 153, you have a story there, and there's 3 parts where there's a line with a word on top, a phrase on top, and a phrase on the bottom. You got to choose the phrase that sounds most like a phrase that you would use in a fairy tale. So, like the example, or the very first one, would last Monday at 1 in the afternoon or many years ago? Which one would sound more like a fairy tale phrase? Many years ago. So you'd circle many years ago. Okay? So you got those other 3 that you have to do. Then on page 145, you have a Venn diagram. That's when you have a circle here, and they kind of overlap in the middle. In the middle, you got to tell me, how are those 2 stories, those 2 characters, Cinderella and Yen Shen, or those 2 stories, I should say, how are they this kind of almost the same? So in the middle part, you got to tell me 2 things that were made those stories that they were very similar or the same. Then on the top where it says Cinderella, tell me 2 things that were only about Cinderella. And at the bottom where it says Yi Shen, right, only 2 things that only dealt with Yi Shen, that only you found in Yi Shen's story, not in Cinderella's story. All right, that's how you fill out that Venn diagram. Page 155, you got to use the words with the prefixes and suffixes to finish the crossword puzzle. And then on the back side, you got to tell me if the C is followed by an I, you write it in one column. If the C is followed by an E, you got to write it in the other column over there. Very simple there. I think you guys should be able to easily figure that out. Okay? 4th graders, you guys got a math assignment again, lesson 91. If you have questions, feel free to get in contact with Mr. Wasser, and make sure you get that done. And then on your reading assignment today on page 133, this is for Javon and Leah and Dylan. You got to use the pronoun that best finishes the sentence and replaces the word that's in parentheses. So like the first one, when Gloria's father went to Cuba, her father was away for 2 years. What can we write instead of her father? When Gloria's father went to Cuba, he was away for 2 years. So you got to write those types of words in there. On 134, it's kind of a fun one. You're going to be writing your name. You got a new job, so you got to write your name in all the blanks up there that have the star. So write, Leah, or Dylan, Javon, and then answer the questions. Make sure you write them correctly, though, okay? 135, you need to write the correct pronoun. They give you 2 choices in the parentheses that finish the sentence. And then on 136, this is kind of a different problem. It says, you need to fill out pretending that you have a problem that you don't have any writing utensil. You have nothing to write with at home to do your homework. So that's going to be your problem. There's your problem at the very top. I have nothing to write with to do my homework. Then I want you to think of 2 possible solutions, 2 ways that you might solve your problem of not having anything to write with. Write that for possible solution 1 and possible solution 2. And underneath it says pros and cons. Tell me one reason why that would be a good reason to solve it, or a good way to solve your problem. And con means why is that, might that be a not so good reason to solve it. And then at the very bottom, tell me which way would you do to try to solve that problem if you ran out of any writing utensil at home. All right. All right, I think that should be about it for today. I hope everyone has a great Tuesday. See, the weather is warming up a little bit, so hopefully you can get outside and enjoy some of the nicer weather today. And the sun's going to be out, so that's going to be a plus, and the like. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to get in contact with me. Keep turning in your homework. I know it's not always fun to always keep turning that homework in every single day, but please tell mom and dad and make sure they send that homework in to me. I check it over every single day, and I really want to make sure everyone's getting their work done on time. All right. Well, have a great Tuesday, and I hope to see some of you on their Zoom. See ya.